Oh, oh my god. I did not see that, Jesus. Alright, okay. Yeah, no, sorry. I was just kind of, basking in the warm glow of fame and money from the success of my last video. Holy cow, these numbers are off the charts. Anyways, yeah. Oh, you're like, looking for the next review. Yeah, right. Well, next game I'm reviewing is this game by Binary Zoo called 1982. Yeah, that's right, I out and said it. I'm reviewing 1982 by Binary Zoo. No tricks or bits or gags or nothing. Let's get into it. Okay, hang on a second, what the heck's going on here? Why am I a PNG tuber? Get me out of here. Alright, cheese and rice, I'm never doing that again. Right. 1982. When I first started writing this review, I had 1 out of 20 achievements, 8 minutes of playtime, and one friend with a question mark avatar on Steam who had played it. So like, yeah, clearly I was a fan of this one when I first played it, huh? The game is made by Binary Zoo, who also made Echoes Plus, which is another game I'm fond of. I posted the soundtrack to that game on my YouTube channel, I liked it so much. And someone posted in the comments how apparently Echoes Plus was part of a demo disc from a gaming magazine, which is cool. Other than that, Binary Zoo are like pretty mysterious. They've released 3 games on Steam, being 1982, Echoes Plus, and Echoes 3. They skipped releasing 2 on Steam, it would seem. The Steam page for the game is quite lengthy, and in actuality, reads like the description of a GameJolt game or something. It basically drops a tutorial for the game in the store page, going in-depth into how the scoring system works, how specific enemies work, all the nuances of power-ups, and like yada yada yada. Really, the game isn't that deep. It's a free bullet heck where you shoot classic arcade enemies and try to prevent them from reaching the ground. You survive as long as you can while the game gets harder and see how high of a score you can get. I do appreciate this Steam page though, because while it is lengthy, it's very charming, seriously. It reads like I'm on Congregate or Miniclip or something. I actually love the energy here, it's very nice. Anyways, yeah, the gameplay. What's that like? Well, it controls with the mouse, and you hold left click to shoot. Other than that, while there's a lot to explain, it all adds up to something rather simple, so it would really be better if I showed you.
Get ready. Weapon out.
Yeah, it's chaos, but like, fun chaos. Actually, it's basically sensory overload. Actually, it's like sensory heaven. Yeah, actually, I don't know. Going higher than that. This game is juicy. It's fun. It's awesome. It's like crack. Probably. I don't know, I've not done crack. But yeah, wow. Do you hear those sounds? See those explosions? Feel that oomph? I don't know exactly how to describe it. The game is kind of a bit more than the sum of its parts. Because on the surface, it's a bit ugly, has gross music and sounds, and is rather simple. But if you dive slightly deeper, it just feels awesome to play. Like, just look at this score multiplier bounce! The game just oozes game feel. The game manages to be pretty engaging with its reflex-based quick-thinking gameplay too. As you saw, there's a few different push and pull factors that dictate how you should move around the playfield. There's power-ups, abductions to shoot down, and also a constant onslaught of enemies to both shoot and dodge. You're constantly thinking about how best to move to the next optimal position, and there's actually a bunch of moment-to-moment decision making here. The game's very good at keeping you in this flow state of bliss as you just absorb this mass sensory blast of sounds. So, I will say, there's not much more to it than that. The game isn't chess or anything, you don't really plan for the long game. There's no macro strategy to pull, not even any moments of quiet where you like, sit down and assess your situation. I guess that's maybe a pacing issue? But also, you kinda get that reset after you die, so maybe this really isn't a thing after all. But yeah, overall it's pretty simple. There's not much going on here brain-wise. The game is so simple actually that there really isn't much to critique here. But still, I have a few things I'd like to say that I think, if fixed, could make the game a bit better. Or at least in future titles, should be considered a bit more. First, the game is a bit of an aesthetic mess. Like, these colours just aren't meant to go together, and this music sucks. It kind of melts into the background as you play, but still, Binary Zoo can definitely do better. And they have! Echoes Plus looks and sounds beautiful, and that actually really does do quite a lot for my enjoyment of that game, so I wonder how much polishing up the aesthetics of 1982 could do for it. They did a bit of work on the visuals, like, it's not stock buttons and stuff, and there's a day-night cycle and like so on, but like, yeah, it can be better. Irregardless, this isn't that big of a deal there. Secondly, I question the balancing decisions of this game. As you progress, units just kinda get super bullet spongy, which isn't really the most fun thing in the world to deal with. I think 1982 is at its best when you're dealing with a lot of stimulus at once, trying the best you can to find any path through the massive stream of obstacles coming your way. But these sponges just kinda take away from that. They're not like offensively bad, but they could be better to be honest. To be honest, they might also just need a bit more feedback, because as it is right now, shooting them feels a bit like shooting titanium, until suddenly they explode. Oh, and actually, speaking of explosions, another thing that is kind of unbalanced is the rocket power-up. It's very good. Kind of overpowered, which might be intentional, but I don't know. Your gun is another thing which I think could be better too. In my opinion, it's a bit too weak, because like, you'll sweep across the whole field trying to destroy a row of enemies, and it won't quite get all of them. Maybe this is a skill issue, like, but I don't know. I think either it should be made into a hitscan laser, or just have its fire rate buffed to solve this. But yeah. I wonder in general how much this game was playtested before they released it. It's a small game, so I don't imagine it was playtested that heavily. Oh, and on that note, thirdly, yeah, the game's just tiny. It's a mini-game, there's not much to do at all. Which, fair, it's a free game, and like, not every game in the world needs to be this behemoth, but still. It's pretty self-evident that this is not on the same complexity tier as chess, or Portal, or whatever. Basically, this game lacks both strong replay value and strong impact. It's not really something that makes me go, wow, you know? It just exists. I hope this criticism makes sense. I won't elaborate any further. Right. Well, yeah, that's all the critique I have for this game. 3 points, but not all of them are equal. I think point 3, while I didn't really elaborate on it much, is what affects this game's ranking the most. The game's lack of substantiality. So, with that being said, let's get on to tier listing this. Deciding this was pretty hard for a while, but what I've decided I think makes sense. The game's pretty clearly better than Rat 2, and I think it's worse than Mouse, but finding exactly where in relation 1982 sits to 100 Frogs is difficult. But I think I've come up with an answer. I think it rates lower than 100 Hidden Frogs, which might be controversial because the gameplay is technically definitely more advanced, right? But like, this tier list, I think, so far is about impacts. The Leopard is more advanced than pretty much all of these things on the tier list, right? But it still ranks really low because the impact it leaves on life is pretty negative. You can then apply the same logic to 1982 versus Frogs. Frogs, I think, have a higher sting power and thus a better impact than 1982. Playing 100 Hidden Frogs, you get to experience nice art. And after playing it, you're like, I don't know, you feel sparkly inside, but playing 1982, like, sure, it's fun, but once you stop playing it, you stop thinking about it. It's not an experience that sticks with you, which is very unlike 100 Hidden Frogs, where after you stop playing it, you're still thinking about how nice the game was. So, yeah, all that being said, the game is a low B tier underneath 100 Hidden Frogs. It's not C tier, because while the game is worse than Frogs, it's still, I would say, closer in quality to 100 Hidden Frogs than it is to Rat 2. Oh, wow. B tier is starting to get cluttered. It really might be time to start moving stuff around soon. It's not an issue yet, but like, if this bell curve starts being this weighted towards the top for like too long, there's gonna be issues. C tier should be average. Anyways, for the time being, congrats to 1982 on its spot in B tier. Good work, you're super fun, and you deserve your spot up here. Nicely done. You know, the score system for this game is dead, right? But I'd really like to see what other people's high scores are in this game. So please, post your scores in the comments of this video if you end up playing this. This isn't just a cheap attempt to drive up interactions here, I'm genuinely just curious to see where I stand in relation to other people who've played this game. I'll post mine in the comments too. Okay, bye.